So here's Mr. Springs. Cliff Springs is the owner of Genesis Studios. Tell us how you ended up here.
I went to USC for media arts, and while I was there, I did an internship with another company. And after graduating, went to work with that company, and then a year later, me and one of the owners of that company went and started this company in 1993. So we are in our 30th year.
Wow! So how did you even want to start studying that kind of career in USC?
I grew up an artist, so visual art was my thing growing up, and I also enjoyed to write. And so writing and visual arts of different forms kind of work together and make for a good match for this kind of thing, whether it's doing entertainment, whether it's doing advertising. I get to use all of those skills on most everything we do.
Did you take any classes in high school related to art, or did any teachers talk to you about different careers in art?
It's very different now than when I was in high school. When I was in high school, we didn't have all these media programs and things that you do now. So y'all are very fortunate that y'all are growing up at a time where the technology to do these kinds of things is accessible even at your age. When I was in high school, technology did not exist for your average person to do anything other than just recording video with an old VHS camcorder, and editing was pretty much out of the question. And even when I graduated college, we were still learning on old analog things right before everything went digital. So you can do more on a $700-800 laptop. You can do more on your phone than we could do on some of the initial equipment that we were working on after I graduated college. So,
right.
So there's been a big difference in how this works over the last 25 years.
Okay. What makes you successful here at Genesis Studios? You've been here for 30 years.
We one of the main things that we do, and one of the main things our clients come to rely on with us, is that we get the job done. And you would be amazed. One of the best things that you can do in any job you have is to simply do what you say you're going to do. And because there are a lot of people that don't. There are a lot of people that don't manage their time well, and so they end up not making deadlines and things of that nature. And there are many times we get clients because somebody else has let them down. And so it's a big priority for us to always make sure we make our clients' lives easier by letting them count on us.
Right.
And when somebody can count on you, you become invaluable. Your worth to them goes up when they know they can count on you, and they won't. But only the dumbest people will overlook that. Anybody with half a brain in their head will know who they can count on, and they will keep counting on
right.
people. So do what you say you're going to do. You'll be amazed how far that gets you.
And then when you do that, do they start referring you to their friends and their
Absolutely.
other colleagues?
Absolutely.
Right.
So most of our outreach has been word of mouth over those years because people see our work, or they talk to our clients and they all have good things about us, and they see that our clients are successful. And that's sort of our thing is, if we make our clients successful, we'll be successful because they're going to keep coming back to us.
Right. So what are some of the clients and projects that you have?
We have a pretty big variety of what we do. Some of our biggest clients, Mungo Homes, has been with us for 20 years now, and they're one of the largest home builders in the nation. Started right here in Columbia.
Okay.
George Sink Injury Lawyers. Now they have a lot of crazy commercials on that you've seen. We don't do all of them, but any of the ones that have a lot of visual effects, animation, these kind of things, those are the ones that we do. JT Auto Dealerships, whether JT's Kia, Chrysler Jeep, Dodge Land. We've been doing ridiculous commercials for him for 20 years.
Right.
And we have made him a very wealthy man doing that. So we don't do those crazy commercials just to do them.
Yeah.
We do them because it's part of a strategy to get people's attention and these kind of things. So everything we do is different for every client, but those are three of our most prominent ones that you probably be seeing.
Right. So what kind of jobs do you have here at Genesis?
We I prefer to hire people who are sort of all around talents. So I don't like to hire somebody who is just a cameraman, for example, or somebody that is just an editor, or somebody that's just a designer. I like people to have all of those skills because how we trade off different projects and how we work on things varies at any given time. So I want anybody here to be able to pick up most any project that needs to be tackled and do that. So I like somebody who has a good balance of visual skills, camera work, editing, sense of style, sense of design, those kind of things. If somebody has sort of the instinct for those things, we can help them learn the technical
Oh yeah.
skills and make them better. But you sort of have to have an instinct for some of that stuff to
Right.
begin with.
So do they need a college degree, or how does that go?
The way I always describe this to people when I get that question is if it came down to it and I had two candidates that were of seemingly of equal skill set,
hmm
and one has a degree and one doesn't, I'm probably going to defer to the one that has the degree. But what my business ultimately depends on is show me what you can do, and that's where you put together a production reel, a portfolio reel, demo reel. And if you never went to college, but you show me a portfolio that knocks my socks off, I'll hire you over the person that went to college that doesn't have a good portfolio every day of the week.
Wow.
So one benefit that you have that I did not have, again, goes back to technology. You can do these things. You can learn these things now, even in high school. Whereas, again, the equipment wasn't available to me to be practicing those things. I practiced my art, but I couldn't practice video editing, and animation and that kind of design and stuff back then. Because of technology and the expense of it. But now you can do that as students. You can get your hands on the same software that we work on.
Okay.
Like, for example, the Adobe Suite is a big part of what we work with. But you can get your hands on that at a student discount that's pretty cheap. And you can start learning this stuff now. And just like with anything, whether it's a sport, whether it's a musical instrument or anything else, the more you practice, the better you will get. So if you want to do this, you can be practicing and putting together a portfolio now. Everything you do is going to get better and better. So I wouldn't probably put your first stuff in your portfolio, but you do have an opportunity to sort of establish a skill set well ahead of even graduating high school.
Right. So if you're a ninth grader thinking about this route, it's something you could get started on.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. Well, do you want to give us a tour?
Sure, I'll give you the nickel tour here. We've been doing this for 30 years. So when we built the studio, we knew a lot about what we want. You can see over here, we're big fans of The Simpsons. This was the display in the movie theater when The Simpsons movie came out.
Oh.
And so it's actually designed for people to sit down there next to the family and get their picture taken. But that was the first piece of decor we put in here when we built the studio. We've been in business 30 years, but we built the studio in 2006, 2007. So that was the first piece of decoration we put in here. But you'll notice we don't have white walls. We have color walls and props and toys and gadgets and things on the wall. A lot of these are from past projects we've worked on. So we want a place that's fun to work, that the people enjoy coming here and being creative. See, we got quotes on the ceiling. Just everything is just something different. And we want people when they come here to visit the studio, potential clients, we want them to know right off the bat when they walk through the door, we're different.
Yeah.
We do things differently, and that being creative is just a part of everything we do all the time. So,
how did you get those Simpsons over there?
That was the display that was at the theater, and we have a good relationship with at that time with the manager out at Regal Cinemas out on Harbison.
Okay.
And so we reached out to her and said, "Hey, what would it take for us to get these?" And she said, "Well, they don't belong to us; they belong to Fox." So she put us in touch with Fox, and Fox said, "We don't want these things all over eBay. So make a donation to a charity that's big enough we know you want them, and you can have them." So the theater was a supporter of Harvest Hope Food Bank, so we made a donation to Harvest Hope. And we got our display for much less than what it's actually worth. These things are on eBay now, even though I didn't want them on there. Those things go for $7,000 or $8,000. So, so we did not pay that much for it.
Wow, that's so cool.
No, it makes a great piece.
Right. Whoa.
That is one of our former employees. He's not employed anymore. He died, but he was working late on a deadline, and he just kind of phoned it in at that point. But that has been dead.
Oh my.
If you look up there, you see these puppets. Those puppets are from a series of commercials we did. We had those custom made from a company out in California. There are two other puppets that were out in the lobby, but those 5 puppets cost $3,500. Is that right? No, these were $3,000 a piece. No, they cost close to $20,000.
Wow.
So those are expensive puppets.
Why were they so expensive?
They were custom made for us, so every one of those is a completely unique character. We went through a whole design process. They made them and manufactured them, and they're very high quality. So, so a lot of things you'll see around here are either displays of work we've done, or our leftover props and things from other projects that we've done, and we like to show those off.
Yeah.
Over here, I'll show you real quick. Again, this was from a part of a feature film we worked on. You had to actually shoot in one of those haunted houses like you go to in the fair, the little ones you ride through. So we had to make some things for that related to it, and that was that. But come around here and I'll show you this real quick. You can point at the screen. This is an animated shot we're working on for a fundraising video for some cool augmented reality stuff we're going to do. But these leaves on this tree, this train track, the train, none of that's real. The only part is the ground and these people here. And so we've added all that in, and this is going to be part of showing some of the things we're going to be doing for the city of Cayce.
Oh, wow.
Yep. All right, and then back here, well, this is another one of our edit suites. So we have producers at workstations throughout the building, but they're working on a car commercial right now.
I can see JT's Kia, or JT.
That's JT right there.
Up on the screen.
This is what's called the generator, but this is our brainstorming room. So when we sit down to figure out our ideas, we come back here and we fill up these whiteboards and stuff with our ideas. And you notice there's lots of different ridiculous stuff in here. We used to do a haunted a Halloween party every other Halloween. And so some of these things are just too cool to put up in the ceiling, in the attic over here. So giant spider, you got the talking head, just little things here and there, and also just stuff that's fun stuff that we like to play with. We keep that in here when we're brainstorming and getting our ideas figured out. Brainstorming is a strategic process. It's not a light bulb moment. So yes, you can get a light bulb inspirational moment, but most of the time, good ideas come from a strategic plan of having a lot of information that you make.
So do any of these toys inspire more ideas than others?
It depends on what we're doing with them. Sometimes we're throwing them at each other. Sometimes we're just fiddling with them, whatever it may be. So it's just we want a fun place where our ideas are free to fly out of our brain, because brainstorming also involves a lot of stupid ideas. That's if you're throwing everything on the table, some ideas are good and some ideas are really bad. We actually enjoy the bad ideas as much as we enjoy the good ideas.
Wow.
And this here is our intern room. So it is sort of it's not finished yet, but it's a Millennium Falcon room.
Oh my goodness.
So we're still configuring this, but we want to give our interns a nice fun place to come in here and work. We got things we've 3D printed. We've got pipes and other things we're going to put up in here eventually. We just haven't gotten to all of it yet, but again, this is where our interns come into work. Of course, you can see our Star Wars characters.
I had no idea this is how your studio looks.
This is one of our fun things. One of our light switches. We don't like anything here to be normal. Come back this way. I'm going to take you on the roundabout. Did you see the man in the big outfit?
Where did you get this guy?
This was for a testimonial video we had one of our clients do for us.
Or I guess it's a girl.
No, that's unrelated. It just got stuck on there. Didn't have where to put it, but yeah, this was all part of an outfit for a testimonial video. We don't even like our testimonial, So. Another one of our puppets. We didn't talk about this real quick.
No, yeah.
This right here, this is the way people used to edit before everything went digital. And as somebody who learned, I learned right as this was dying and right as digital was getting started. I can't imagine having to make films on something like this. So you get a much greater appreciation for what those people were able to do when they had to work on something like this. When you're editing digitally, you can try 50 different combinations of something. When you're working with film and having to physically splice it and cut it together, you can't do 50 combinations. Something you'd hate life.
Right.
And you quit. So, but
they
used to
would
work.
cut the actual tape.
Yeah, film, cutting of the film and going from reel to reel to reel.
Jeez.
Do you know why these exist and why they do that?
I mean, I could take a wild guess, but
Okay. Got a guess? No? Okay. When you're shooting film and sound, unlike with video where you're filming with your picture and your sound are automatically synchronized, they recorded film and sound separately.
Yikes.
So this gave them a visual and audible on a way to see where the sound and the film synced up. And so they would actually have sound running through this and film running through this. And that was a quick way for them to sync those two things up. They'd look for where the clap hit and look for where the sound was.
Wow. So that explains why some of the black and white movies, the sound seems a
Sure,
little off.
can be.
Yeah.
Come on this way. This is what we literally call the boring conference room. You can see it's the most normal room in the building. So we don't figure out our ideas in here. This is where we meet the clients so we don't scare them.
So you don't scare them, yep.
Here's our production hall. This is another one of our edit suites. There. This is the brains of the building, so all of our audio, video, and data pass through here and talk to each other and keep everything running.
Those look like they've been around.
Those are, yes, those are some of the equipment I worked with in the first 10 years of our company. And since we still have a bunch of old master tapes that are just in our archives that run on those things, we keep those so that if we ever had to pull those back out for any reason, we could do it.
From the 90s then?
Yes, yes. This is what we call our master control room. So if you've ever watched the news or some show where they they'll cut back to the control room and they're stand by, camera one, coming to you, camera two, and all that kind of stuff. People who are actually switching between the cameras. This was what we set that up for when we built the studio. But as technology changed, the demand for that sort of went away. So we quit using this for that. But now as things have gone back to streaming and you're now doing streaming switching, we're actually going to reconfigure this for some content we're creating and actually turn this back into a master control room for, like I said, for a number of different content programs we're producing and streaming.
Cool.
This is our audio booth. It's a little bit messy right now, but we record podcasts and other things in here. And if we're recording a voiceover for something, we'll bring them in here and do that. We've recorded in the last 2 months. We recorded audio replacement for Outer Banks. And another show that's coming called Class of '09. It's a futuristic show about the CIA or something like that. But anyway, so we've done audio recording for a number of things. So
does someone play the piano?
We bang on the piano. I don't know if we're good enough to know if you all playing it, but yes, we do bang.
Okay.
This is our production trailer. We've got probably more stuff in there than most production companies in the state have. But you also see real quick, we're shooting this on a curved wall. That's called a cyc, which is short for cyclorama. And as you can probably tell right there on your phone, it sort of makes the background become seamless. It's like infinity. So if you ever watch a commercial or something and it looks like somebody's standing sort of in front of a white infinite background, they're 10 feet in front of a curved wall that's lighted that way. So this gets painted all the time. You don't want scuff marks on it stuff, so we paint it regularly for what we're doing. And people can rent this studio and do their own thing. Sometimes they want us to provide some equipment as well, which we can do, and we can also provide crews. So we can do as much as somebody wants when they rent this. Somebody can also rent studio space. They'll just close the door and they can do their own thing.
Wow. Very
and
creative.
And look down here real quick. You'll notice there's green remnants on the edge here. If we're doing visual effects, we'll paint this whole thing green and do special effects work out here as well. So
you're just constantly painting.
Yeah. So technically the room is shrinking little by little every time we shoot something. But and it sounds like a joke it's a joke I used to make for years until 3 years ago. We were trying to scrape up a couple of little nodules that had built up over 12 years of painting. And basically we had to pull the whole floor up because it was quarter-inch thick of latex
paint. Oh my goodness.
And so we literally had to pull the whole floor up and redo the whole floor. So yes, it does build up after time. If you come back over here, I'll show you our equipment room. It's a little bit messy because we pulled stuff out of the studio. Normally this isn't in the way, but you can see we have equipment going on and on and on. So we have lighting, we have sound, we have tripods, we have car mounts, we have camera stabilizers, we've got electrical equipment, we've got everything. And we've been up 30 years to build up quite a collection of this stuff. But we have the resources to do pretty much anything we want to do. So then I mean even scaffolding, dollies.
Right.
We've got this is a camera crane. We put camera on the other end of it, weights on this end, and you can fling your camera all around like a seesaw. Come over here, you'll notice we've got attic space up there. So we've got another 4,000 feet up there that we have other equipment. We have set flats, we have costumes, wardrobe, and some junk as well. But anyway, we have space up there for storing a lot of stuff that we use from project to project.
Is the ceiling a certain material?
That's sound deadening. It is. Unfortunately, we had a problem with the contractor when we built this, and he did not do that part of it right.
Oh.
So we're not as our sound is not as soundproof as it was supposed to be. But yeah, we still make do anyway. But yes, that's why that's up there.
Yeah, it just looked different.
Yep, absolutely. Now this over here, this is actually kind of tough to tell right now, but this is an interrogation room. For a little short film we're going to do. But this is where the studio model, if you go anywhere, you go to Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, any of those things. The rule is any space available in the room can become a set. So these walls aren't usually here. This is a wall to our makeup and dressing rooms. We can use the makeup and dressing rooms, but we'll use this door to be a door to as if it's to our interrogation room out here for our short film. This stuff won't be here when we're doing that. But anyway, so you use whatever walls you have available. We put up what are called set flats and put those up. Like this is supposed to look like a conduit pipe running up the wall, and it is conduit, but it's just clamped up at the top of the wall. And we do things like that just to make it look like it's relevant to something. But anyway, that's the mindset of the studio. You use whatever space you have available. And here, this is Studio B. It's a smaller studio space. We keep a green screen up in here most of the time, but this room is sort of ready to go in a few minutes. So we have clients that'll come and use this for testimonials. We have politicians come in here and they'll shoot stuff for political spots. So this room, and we'll use this for photography as well. So we'll use this room for a lot of different things, and it's sort of quicker to get started in here and get using than big studio space, because a lot of things we do don't require that much space. Right. And so we'll come in here and we'll set up and do the interviews and things.
And when you say a testimonial, somebody that you've worked with and they're talking about how great you were, kind of thing?
Most of them are testimonials for our clients. So somebody talking about why they like to use our clients and those kind of things.
Okay, so like JT, I love JT.
Yes.
Cars. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
And then this is one of the more fun spots of the building. We affectionately call this Movie Land. When we built the studio space, we were venturing out into more entertainment-based projects. So we brought investors and that kind of thing in. We wanted them to get a feel that they were actually in that kind of environment. And so this is our kitchen, but it looks like you're going to the movies. So these are some projects we've created. This is Bringing the Fallen Home. This is a documentary that's been on ETV and PBS for the last 7 or 8 years. But we went around with the permission of the Army and the Air Force, went behind the scenes to see how our nation takes care of fallen service members. They all returned to American soil at Dover Air Force Mortuary, and so in Delaware. And so we went there and we actually learned how all that process went. Very moving film, and it's something that ETV airs every Memorial Day and usually on Veterans Day as well. It's been around for a while. We've gotten a lot of good response on that. We get to honor our fallen service members and families too.
Do you get to travel a lot?
When we, it totally depends. It's a project by project thing. We enjoy traveling. We, for part of shooting this, we actually, you kids are probably too young to know this, but a number of years ago they had what was called the winter vortex that was going on when winter storms in the upper half of the nation were horrible. And so, yeah, we went and we were driving through the winter vortex shooting all this stuff. So it was interesting. We saw all the snow we could ever want to see for the rest of our lives. But we drove it because we were going from one interview to another. Sometimes we'll fly. We've flown out to California a number of times shooting interviews where we'd rent a car and we'd drive up the coast and do a series of interviews up there. So we enjoy traveling. It just is on a project by project basis.
Do a lot of people from out of state contact you?
When they have to shoot in state, they do. Yeah, we'll get inquiries for that, and they'll shoot there. We've had Nickelodeon, True TV, some other shows and things come and shoot in here. We've had Nutrisystem shot in here with Dan Marino. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback for the NFL and stuff like that. So we'll have fun stuff like that happen.
Yeah. Neat.
Now, this is another documentary we produced. This is a web series we've started. It's kind of like our version of Twilight Zone. Coming here.
Oh wow!
This is our movie theater. We have 7.1 surround sound in here and 25 seats. And so we can watch. Obviously, you can watch movies in here. We can make presentations in here. Our clients, somebody can rent the studio and then come in here and watch the footage in here. So, yep, they're everywhere. So we make good use of this, and particularly during COVID, we didn't have to skip going to the movies. We came here and we watched things.
Right, your private movie theater.
Starting salary is probably not the greatest thing in the world, but if you've been doing this a while and you know what you're doing, particularly if you're doing your own thing, creating your own content, sky's the limit on what you can end up making. So.
Okay. And what would you say your favorite part of the job is and your least favorite?
I don't have a lot of least favorites because I enjoy what I do. I don't ever dread coming to work, and that's important. If you enjoy what you do, they say you never work a day in your life. My favorite thing of what I do is the fact that as a creative person, I don't like to do the same thing over and over.
Okay.
And so I love the fact that every day is different. And so I can be doing one thing on Monday, something different on Tuesday, different Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Because of that, I've gotten to go behind the scenes at, BMW, Boeing. I get to see how a lot of very cool things are made. I've gotten to go into places and do things I would have never gotten to do otherwise. We had a client that developed an app to help you land a plane if your navigation gear went out. So we went up in a plane and installed the engine, and we got footage of landing the plane. That was a volunteer project. I didn't make anybody do it, but just the idea that we can do things that we would not have an opportunity to do otherwise. That's my favorite part of what we do. That there's that variety. We don't come here and do the same thing every day. And for a creative person, that's very important.
Essential, yeah. Who is your web designer?
We do that ourselves.
Okay. How do we get to come visit?
Generally, we restrict those to things like this where we're having a school tour.
Right.
We try to keep it to 45 minutes to an hour because we do have work we have to get done.
Right.
So generally that's been that. If you are a high school student, we do allow job shadows when it obviously doesn't interfere with what we're doing. So that is something that's possible. That's on a case-by-case basis depending on what our workload is at the time with which you need to do it.
Right.
I say this for any students that do like to do video editing. We made a commercial for JT 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it was this, all of our commercials for him are deliberately stupid. They look ridiculous, but it's on purpose. Okay. We did a spoof of Despicable Me.
Okay.
It's called Deal-tastic Me. Well, what we did not know was that got uploaded online. And over the last 10 years, it developed a cult following, and it has millions of views, and people have done all kinds of mashups and re-edits of it, and it is the most ridiculous thing. They've labeled it one of the worst commercials ever, and so we love it. It's great. So we have started a channel on YouTube called Deal-tastic Memes, and what we're doing is we're releasing an old commercial of JT's like once a month, and people can do re-edits of it. They can download it, re-edit it, send it back to us, and we'll pick a winner. And the winner gets either $50 or $100, depending on what we're doing at the time. So if any of you like to play around with your edit software, go to Deal-tastic Memes, download the video, send it back to us. If yours is the best, you might win some money too.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to start working on your skills.
Yep.
Good motivation. Okay. If a student is interested in acting in some of the commercials that you are filming, would they go through your company?
There are a couple ways we do that. You could send us a headshot and your contact information. That could be done. If you are genuinely interested in doing that, I would recommend getting with one of the talent agencies in town, or even if you are involved in local theater, that's another way to do it. Like with the town theaters, we do a lot of work with them, so we often will get talent through the people who work with them as well. So I would encourage you to get connected with something other than just sending us something and saying, hey, I like to be in a commercial.
Yeah, great. How long does it take to make an animation, and how much does it cost to rent?
To rent what?
If they wanted to rent your studio.
Oh, okay. The studio rental depends on a lot of things, what you need. So we actually have a form on the website you could fill out. We can get back to your price on that. Animation is, depending on what you're doing, it's not inexpensive because it is time consuming, but it also gives you the freedom to create whatever the heck you want. We actually produced a pilot episode for a preschool kids show. We're hoping to get to keep producing. So we've done that with 2D animation, but it's just like the thing we looked at on the computer. That's 3D animation for augmented reality that we're creating. So there's lots of different types of animation, and what you do with it oftentimes depends on, well, in fact, how much it costs.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions for jobs in 2D animation?
Well, Adobe has a program called Adobe Character Animator, and it's a great starting point for that. It's kind of a buggy program, but once you sort of figure out how it works, there's a lot you can do in it.
Okay.
So that's a good program that will get you started in 2D animation.
Perfect. Is there a specific major or college that you recommend?
Any college that's got a decent media arts program, and the one thing I'll say with that is the smaller schools probably don't have as robust of a program as that as some of the larger ones do. But with any program other than the best programs in the country, what you get out of it is going to have a lot to do with what you put into it. USC, when I was there, they had an okay media arts program, wasn't the greatest, but me and another guy that I worked with, we loved it and we invested ourselves in it. So we got plenty out of it because the effort we put into it. The best programs don't let you get away with not putting your best effort into it. Most programs on the lesser, the schools that aren't at the top, you have to put the effort into it. But if you put your effort into it, you can get out of it most anywhere. So.
Someone asked, how would you build your portfolio in writing?
In writing?
I'm guessing if you want to be a writer.
Writing is one of the differentiators in my book. Work with a lot of people who are good at producing stuff, but writing is not one of their skills. So I always take note of people who do have a skill set for writing. So that could be a strength in this business. But I will tell you this also: writing is just like, it may not sound like it, but writing is just like playing an instrument, playing a sport. The more you write, you will get better at it. So because you can, when you first really start writing, you can go back a year from now and go back and read it, and you'll think, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, how did I ever write that?" As the more you write, the better you will get. And there's lots of resources online, whether you're writing for screenplays or novels or something else, to just help you understand good story structure. I'll also tell you from a story structure standpoint, if that's your interest in writing, there's a book called Story by Robert McKee, McKee. It was one that I read after college, and to me that was one of the better books that I enjoyed for learning story structure.
Cool. Do you have internships?
We do. Internships though are restricted to college students.
Right.
We don't do them with high school students. But if you're in school, most schools require you to do an internship, and everybody who works for me now did intern for me one time. So it's a great way to get your foot in the door. Okay. I've had a lot of interns I didn't hire, but all the ones that worked for me, they used that internship time to show me what they were capable of. So they earned themselves a job.
Do you have a favorite show or animation you've ever made?
Bringing the Fallen Home is one of the most powerful things that we've worked on. So that will always be special to me. But it's tough to pick a favorite because everything we do, we like to do something better than we did the last time. So hopefully we're always making the best thing we've ever made.
Right.
And so that's tough to pick one. But there's lots of things that have elements that I've seen, and y'all probably haven't seen most of these. But for George Sink, we've done a lot of very elaborate visual effects commercials for him that y'all haven't even seen yet because they haven't run them yet. And some of those are among my favorites.
If someone is interested in digital art, how do you develop and get better?
I would, just like with anything, again, the more you do it, the more you practice. But Adobe has a design suite with a great discount price for students. I would download the Adobe Suite, learn Photoshop and Illustrator, Those are the two most important ones for learning design. There are other things to learn after that, but Photoshop and Illustrator, if you get a good footing in those, that will give you a great start.
Okay, and last question. How many people are on your team or your company?
I have 4 working for me right now, including myself, and then we have 4 interns.
Wow,
Yeah.
so y'all are tight knit.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
really
No,
tight.
we are productive for the number of people we have, and with the project we got coming up, there's a good chance there could be some expansion of that over the next 16 months.